The reason why a lot of AAA games just suck is because they are just playing it safe, because that's usually what people are requesting. I think most designers have to design from a perspective of father or mother, where you don't want to give your kids candy all day, because they want is candy. That's all they beg for, and they really want it. And sometimes they're so sincere about it, but they're going to go crazy. It's bad for them. You want to choose when you give it to them, so they have that like memory of, oh, remember that time, the end of the day after the boardwalk, I got an ice cream cone and it was so delicious. You won't have an experience that you will carry with you for the rest of your life unless there is some amount of like turmoil or strife. Emotions are important in art. You need to be able to pull them out of people.
Hey there, my name is Stephen Lake and welcome to The Examined Game. Today I am talking with Edmund McMillen, the creator of The Binding of Isaac, Super Meat Boy, more recently Mewgenics, which he spent a very, very, very long time working on, and that game has been an absolute runaway success for him. I first came across Edmund when I saw him in a documentary called Indie Game the Movie. I strongly recommend watching it. He's one of the many contributors to that film, and we're meeting him predating the full release of Super Meat Boy. It's interesting to look back at someone in that early stage of their career and then talk with them right now on the release of Mewgenics. Mewgenics was such a brilliant and out there game, and I just wanted to talk with Edmund about the process he went through in creating that. And what I love about speaking with him is this idea of just having your head down and working to effectively please yourself. And if you can do that well with a game, then you're probably going to do that for others. We also got a chance to look at his most played Steam games, and the answer was surprising, but then not in some ways when you think about it. So I hope you enjoy this conversation. Thank you very much.
I played a bunch of games that I had never played before. I never played, like a friend and, somebody I kind of grew up with making video games, Massoff, showed me his latest game, which was called Blood Dungeon. And it was described as like a Vampire Survivors like, but I realized, and I enjoyed it. And then I realized I never played Vampire Survivors, so I played that. I did not enjoy that. And I really don't understand. I mean, I get it. But oh my God, I've never played a game, and I apologize, but they've had enough success. I can say these things. But I've never played a game where for the first 15, 20 minutes of playing it, I'm like excited. And then for the rest of the game, I'm questioning if I should just turn the game off. Because there's nothing, I'm getting nothing. And at the end, I feel like I've wasted my time. Like, it made me go like, oh my God, because I always question, like, did I do this? Is this my fault? Like, this is because The Binding of Isaac was very similar to this formula, but this you literally strip out every agency outside of like a few button presses and moving around, right? And I was trying to avoid that, but I remember when designing the original Binding of Isaac, a few of our testers used to play in debug mode, and they would just give themselves a bunch of items and then walk through the game. And they would say how fun it is. And my whole argument was, and they wanted more. And I was like, yeah, but then you'll have nothing. Like, there's no feeling of you doing anything. It's just the game is playing itself. You do nothing, and it's going to feel terrible. And then I was confronted face to face with exactly that design. And I'm like, geez, man, I get it. I get why that works. Totally understand. But man, did that feel bad.
I think what you described, like you said, like 15 to 20 minutes. My experience was in a way the exact same. It was just like it's either 15 to 20 minutes, or it's 15 to 20 hours, or it's like 150 to 200 hours, depending on how into that game someone gets. And then you hit that point. I had like a weekend where I played that nonstop with my stepdaughter, and it was probably like almost like 12 hours in 2 sessions, and as soon as it tipped over, I was like, what on earth is this? And I just couldn't touch it ever again. But
well, I guess it's the beauty of being a game designer is I can see. I get it. I know what to expect. Like, I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna string me along with a carrot, and there's gonna be this, and this as it goes. But there wasn't actually enough, like, I mean, it quite literally is like, if you do this song and dance, then we will pull the slot machine lever again for you, and you'll get rewarded with something. The rewards weren't rewarding enough for me to care about the next one. I liked the blood dungeon one more because I felt like I was doing more. You actually like had to move around because it's like a platformer. What else did I play? There's a game called I think it's called Solcesto. Is that? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I enjoyed that. The art style was really good. Let me look at my Steam recently played.
Yeah, there we go. So give us a Steam.
I played Ball Pit. Same game. I feel fucking terrible for even saying that, but it is the truth. I played Mecha Chameleon. You know, I get it. Totally understand. What else did I play? I played Noida. Noida's good. I really like Noida. Very cool, very vast, a lot to do, a lot to think about. I played a bit of Caves of Cud. What else? I played Min of the Howler. It didn't grab me, but I'll probably go back in later. I've been trying to play video games because I really don't play many video games at all lately. But the game I'm playing the most is still Overwatch. That's just the one. Like it's my shooter. It's the thing I like fall back on when what am I supposed to do? It's either Magic the Gathering on Arena or Magic the Gathering online or Magic the Gathering real life. And if I can't do those things, then I'll just jump into a game of Overwatch, and then it's fine.
Yeah, I was actually curious if you had your literal Steam up. I was interested if you changed the order there to most hours played. What are the games that?
How do you do that? Is it just get this? My number one is this game called Mewgenics, and I have 2,252 hours. Then it's The Binding of Isaac, 602 hours. Then it's Super Meat Boy, 415 hours. Then is this game called Overwatch, which is 351 hours. Then it's Balatro with 247 hours. Then it's Fingered, another game I made, with 141. Then the end is nigh with 100. Yeah, this makes sense. Okay, I'm not going to say my games because that's stupid. So it's number one's Overwatch with 350. Number two is Balatro with roughly 250. Then it's Spelunky with 122. Then it's Little Nightmares, which I played with my daughter, which was, and then she played a bunch too, which is about 90 hours. Then UFO 50, which was 80 hours. Then it's Slay the Spire 2, which was 70 hours. Then Slay the Spire, which is roughly the same. Borderlands 2 with 56 hours. Then the first Little Nightmares with 50. Spelunky 2, 50. Elden Ring 50. Wasteland 40. Battlefield. And Goat Simulator's got 32 hours on here. Then Half-Life 2 and Stalker 2 Inside, and Hades with a whopping 20 hours.
That was very generous of you to share that.
I'm interested. Oh, right under that is the blood dungeon game and Baby Steps.
And that's okay. And those are obviously pretty recent, right? So
I actually play more. I play way more board games than I do video games.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Especially if you can
an hour count on that unless you do it analogically.
Yeah, I mean, we play every Friday for about 5 hours, and every other Saturday for about 4 hours we play Magic. So, I mean, you could just say I play like roughly 10 hours of board games a week.
That's a good.
That's my break time. I need to refuel.
It was interesting actually hearing you give your game hours, because Mewgenics had a hell of a lot. That was a really high compared to
yeah.
Is that just literally based on like thanks for development and you know?
It was the longest.
More time you're testing.
We were up on Steam at least for the last 4 years of development, so a good 4 years of development time, and the game's open when I'm working on it at least 50% of the time. So yeah, I play tested the hell out of that game more than any game I'd ever made.
I believe you. Based on You know when you read a Steam review and the person's got like 2,000 hours, and like I believe them. You could literally just like just
Yeah.
That was great. I'm glad we got into that.
I've never done it before. You're the first.
It would actually be not to be like, clickbait crazy, but it would actually be a good little format of hearing devs just run down their Steam accounts, play times of things. Because it is interesting that, right? Because and it was something I wanted to talk with you about, and maybe we'll get into it now or later, but you're making the game, people are playing the games, right? And there's this sort of you and the player are both looking at the same coin with different faces, right? And I'm just curious, what I like about hearing you run off the games you've played is that something that like we all have in common, right? Whether you're making the game or whether you're playing the game, we're all racking up hours on Steam. And I guess what I was interested in was, when you spend such a long time on a game and then you release it out into the world, like, do you feel like you'll ever really sort of truly be able to understand like the player's position in playing your game and vice versa?
No. I mean, no. But I like to design games where I can enjoy the game almost as much as the player, because I like to make games that feel dynamic and give you a billion choices and make you feel like you are in control. And every run is different completely. So I know that when I do a run, nobody else is experiencing the same thing. That's a completely unique experience to me, and the choices that I make matter. So I think I'd like to think that I can kind of see it the way everyone else sees it. Obviously, like when it comes to lore and story and theme and stuff, I'm doesn't do anything for me because I wrote it. But when it comes to gameplay, the stuff that actually really matters, I think I get it and enjoy it almost as much as maybe other people do. It helps me be realistic about it too. Like, I think I can be pretty brutally honest about the shortcomings of my work and where things work, where things don't, what I can do better, where I can improve and grow kind of as a designer. Because I play them and I play them as if I were a player.
I wonder if that sort of is that a good explainer, you think, for why you've had a pretty good hit rate, I would say, in the games that you've put out into the world, and it sounds as if you're making them, you're sort of trying to please yourself when you're making these games. Yeah,
I'm absolutely. I was actually having this talk with my wife recently because I'm at a point in my life. I just turned 46 and I have 2 kids. And I know a lot of people, in adjacent industries that are bigger icons than me, much bigger. But a lot of them struggle with chasing a dollar, you know what I mean? And I don't know, it's a weird situation to kind of be in where you're talking to these people who I just feel like are so much more influential and huger just overall and whatever else. And then like, why aren't they still creating stuff? I don't know, just weird stuff like that. And the answer that I always had is just this, I'm being really honest when I say the only reason I'm making this stuff is for me. It's for self-preservation. Like, I need to create to be happy, to stay happy. I need to do this. This is a requirement. And I'm only being judged by myself, and I'm only trying to make something better than something I previously have done. And I'm really brutal when it comes to that. Like, I think for the most part, I would rate myself more harshly than most critics. And I think it gives me a pretty realistic idea of where a game is at when I'm developing it, and the potential it has. And I really just don't care other than that. Like, I only care about making myself happy and doing something I'm proud of. Nothing else matters. And the money comes with it. It just happened. It worked. Obviously I'm trying to think about how to market these things in order to make them, because I want as many people to play them as possible. It makes me happy to know that other people, I'm an entertainer in some, weird way, I really want to entertain people. And it makes me very happy to be able to do so. And that's a motivator too, to finish and, put stuff out there. But the reality is the thing that really puts me apart from most other artists is I think I really honestly doing this just for myself. And I'm only going by my own rating system, and I don't care about anything else.
It's like a system that works, right? Clearly,
I guess it has so far. I mean, it doesn't always work. Sometimes I like to make stuff that admittedly I know isn't going to be the greatest thing in the world, but I have to make it just because it's fun to do and put it out there. And I've released stuff that I'm really not that proud of. But I feel like I know when something has, like, I knew that Mewgenics had potential back in 2012 when I started the prototype for it. And that's why I invested so much time and money and effort into it, is because I felt like I knew that this was an important thing that I needed to do, regardless of how financially viable it will be in the end. I invested a lot. I mean, I invested more money in that project than any project. And a lot of people backed away from it. I mean, that's initially what happened from the original prototype. Like, it got locked in limbo because I was the only person who felt like it could do well.
Did your confidence ever falter in those moments, or again, based on that system you have where you're like, okay, you're it sounds a bit self-centered to say you're pleasing yourself, but to be, you want to see this thing exist, it's got potential, it's something you're going to enjoy playing. When things get sticky and tough, are you sort of so dead set on like, well, I just want to see what this is going to look like, that you just blaze forward and find a way?
Yeah, if it's just a project that I want to see finished, then I do it. I just do it. I think I'm more like the type that's like, if I'm going through development and I'm being like, okay, like, this isn't, God, I put do not disturb on my goddamn, sorry. I don't want to hear these.
I feel like do not disturb is this sort of semi-selective thing. It's like,
I just turned off randomly. What was I saying?
Well, I was asked about, those moments when people might fall off or enthusiasm might wane outside of yourself. Like, if you ever falter.
There's a bunch of, I think it's just a part of any project. Like, I think all projects will run into usually situations where the project becomes a work and boring and kind of terrible in some way. And I've made a lot of projects. I've been making projects for myself since I was like 13. And I think over time I just learned how to treat myself like a player and reward myself and withhold things. So like, I just don't overindulge in things that I know that I will consume within a couple days. You know what I mean? Like, I could sit down and write a grand story and all these cool characters, and I could design all this other stuff. But then when you ask me to implement it, when I've already had it all finished, there's no excitement. There's no wonder. There's no wiggle room. It's all it's all there. It's done. And it like kills it for me. And I think most other people, it kills it too. So I tried to design really loose and don't plan too far ahead unless it's stuff that's like technical. But when it comes to the creative side of things, I don't want to lock it down, because I know that the game will show me what it wants as I develop. as it has for every game I've ever made. It's the magic is within the project, kind of like connecting as you build it, and then realizing that, oh, this is turning into this beautiful structure. I can help it become more elegant if I do it this way. And that's exciting. It keeps motivation up. It keeps the project feeling like it's alive. So I try to design all my projects that way, where I'm like, let's just rough it out and get the rough pieces in, and then just wiggle our way through as we go. We can just start pulling things together, and if they make sense, then we design something else here and design something else there, and the game finds itself, and then you're not stuck in a situation where you're like, oh God, all the stuff's on paper and I have to now, like type it all out. Like, it's not like, I don't want to be, that's not what I want to do. I want to have the freedom to improvise in an otherwise area of artistry that's really never improvised in. You usually have to plan ahead and lock all that shit down. But that's what being independent like gives you. Like, in a company, this would never work. I would have to have everything on paper. Everything would be locked in spreadsheets, and everyone would be on the exact same page of what we were doing. And we would have to keep it that way, because if we said, oh wait, no, this would be better like this, and they were like, well, we fucking invested God knows how much money and how much time and effort of everybody to do this, and this would set us back. Our deadline that we've locked in would be fucked up. And it's just like, I just like love being in the situation where I can just do whatever and do what feels right in the moment, even if it brings us a few steps back, and not have to lock down a date because of profits and we're losing money and whatever else. I just keep it cheap and work with a friend and have fun doing it. It's kind of insane to think that, like, realistically, Mewgenics was worked on full time for the last 4 years, but really 6 years in total, and roughly a team of 10 throughout those 4 years, and there was never an issue. No one ever had a problem. It was always fun. I woke up every day extremely excited and motivated to work. It was just a really fun project to finish, and I'm sure that would have been the opposite if I had planned everything out and said, we've got to get this done in 2.5 years. And everybody just had work to do. I like to be able to tell the people I'm working with, here's what this character is, or here's what this thing is. You do you. I want you to have fun, because it's going to come through in the art. It's like when I say, okay, we need this new track for this area. When I'm talking to Matthias and Sean, Ridiculon, usually the email or conversation will be like, this is this area. This is what I'm feeling in this area. This is a link to 2 different, like, specific genres of music that I'd love to pilfer. This is what I like. This is what I want the player to feel. Go do your thing. And then we'll come back. They throw something out there, and there'll be like a line in a lyric that I think is really special. And I'm like, and I take that and I pull that into the game and I make it part of the game. So it all feels interwoven into this, like, nice little package. But yeah, I think it's important to give all artists working on projects that kind of, like, creative freedom to do, have fun in the world. Like, I bring you because I love what you do. You do you in my world. Like, just do you. And that's what Mewgenics really is. It's a lot of people just having fun drawing and making art.
I spoke with Alex Beecham from Outer Wilds, and he talked a lot about emotional prototyping, as he puts it. And it made me think about that. It's interesting hearing you both speak in very similar ways of that feeling it out thing, right?
I think certain people, it works for certain people. I don't think everybody can really kind of do that. You got to have that frame of mind. I think for a lot of people, it'd probably be really scary and overwhelming, because this is scary. It's scary to go in and being like, okay, we're not gonna plan. We're going to just fly by the seat of our pants and trust in the process and know that it's going to be okay. And like I said, like any company, if you told them, here's my rough idea, we're going to fly by the seat of our pants, they would absolutely not do the project. It's just a no. But that the Outer Wilds is really cool. I have to go back in and finish it. I've been somehow spoiler free all these years, and I played it again with my daughter a few years ago, and started to get in fairly deep where stuff was clicking, and I'm like, wait a minute, but I'm not there yet. I need to go back in and do it because, of course, work kind of pulled me away.
Mm-hmm. That feels like a hard game to like, you'd have to sort of, well, although that said, it all just resets again. Just, when you give space to a game, then you come back to it and then you're like, what on earth is even like going on?
Yeah, I think with that one, I mean, everything is really fresh in my mind. They did such an amazing job of what they were doing with it. The world, I mean, it's just world building, like, which I'm a absolutely huge fan of as well. Like fuck a story. Like a story is, we've been doing that for forever, but in video games, you can build a living world with characters that can develop through gameplay. And I think that's really cool and interesting. And I really enjoy doing that too. And Outer Wilds did that as well.
I'm interested to go back, when you said about this instinct you had about Mewgenics back in 2012. I'm curious, and I'm also interested for your other projects as well. Like what is that earliest possible like thought or concept or idea or mechanic or approach or whatever when a game is in its absolute, you couldn't even call it an early iteration, but I mean, I'm interested what the thought was that came up for that game.
Like what hooks me, or just the general thought, and when it comes to those games.
Yeah, just whatever it was that was happening way back in 2012. Well,
yeah, for Mewgenics, it was a prototype for. So I had just finished Isaac, and the reason why I had made Isaac was because I was so incredibly inspired by Spelunky's way of taking a roguelike and turning it into an action game, like an action roguelike. And I was like, oh my God, this is like an absolutely untouched new genre. And I would love to learn it. And I prototyped Isaac. The original Isaac was made in 3 months. So it was a super quick little project that I threw up on Steam. And it was initially there because I was planning on the next Team Meat game after Super Meat Boy was going to be a roguelike, a big roguelike, like Spelunky. So Isaac was just like, hey, I'm going to get used to this, get my feet in the water with this game. And so I could work on this bigger project. And the bigger project was going to be Mewgenics, which was the prototype. The prototype was called 1,000 Cats. And it was kind of based off of this, I don't know what if you call it, a joke or what, but my wife had a ongoing bit of whenever I would start a new project that would mean me neglecting her, then she would need a cat. And at that point we had 4 cats, and she was dipping into more exotic cats. So we had 2 hairless cats, and I thought it was interesting. And there was a situation where she was kind of going through all these different breeders' websites and trying to find these cats. And the value of the cats was how deformed they were, which I thought was very interesting. So you got these hairless cats, but then you've got these hairless cats with, they call them elf ears, which means the ears are folded backwards. There's also folds, which means they fold forwards. You've got these like a Devon Rex Sphinx, which means that their hair, they do have some hair and it's very stunted and like wavy. And then there are these, the newest back then was, they were called Bambinos, which were hairless cats that had half legs. So like dachshund, like a wiener dog, right? Mm-hmm. Totally fucked up. So it's like,
I didn't know any of this till you just.
Yeah. Oh, and then the odd-eyed. So like, one blue eye, one green eye, that sort of stuff too. So my wife ordered a Bambino or put money down on Bambino, and it turned out the Bambino had died because its heart was all messed up, and it's just common. It's just, and it's just, this is a whole industry, and there's just a lot of people that are into this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, wow, this is an interesting moral conundrum here that I thought, hey, this is probably worth writing about. So it was a combination of that experience and kind of poking fun at my wife and our kind of hoarder lifestyle. As you can see in the background, I have a lot of things. I like stuff. So it was a game about stuff, collecting stuff and hoarding cats. And I didn't really know what it was. It was just kind of a toy. All that existed then was the house hub. So you had this house you could upgrade, collect furniture, fill full of furniture, and breed your cats, which had this whole DNA simulation thing where you actually breed your cats together, and visually they look like a combination of your parents. The cats had stats, and you would use them as avatars in like mini games. And one of the mini games was a Pokemon fighting game. And that's about as far as we got. There was going to be a cat race and beauty pageant and stuff like that. But the core idea was just, here's a hub where there's this little simulation running, and the cats are doing cat stuff, and you use them as live systems in other games. And the world, when I started to build out the world, I just started coming up with these characters that I thought were really interesting. And the themes that I wanted to like push into kind of was like, I guess kind of looking at humanity, especially through the lens of the breeding cats thing, and being like, wow, it's kind of funny how like in a lot of ways animals are just better than humans, because humans don't like lie, torture, and manipulate, and like our animals don't, and humans do. So humans are just going and pilfering and lying and stealing and manipulating and torturing and doing all this stuff for their own personal gain. And animals are just honest and being like, look, we're animals. We're not lying to you. We're out for us, and that's it. And we don't really care what we have to eat and what we have to do. This is just who we are. But humans will lie and say, no, I have a valid reason why I want to torture these cats and breed them in horrible ways. I don't know. It was just an interesting situation. So I wanted to make these characters that were all bad, like inherently bad and flawed. And I wanted to kind of push the stereotypes in each direction and really exaggerate that aspect of humanity. And like, so you've got the like mad scientist who doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself. It's like all these people who live in this world, but aren't ever like, none of the NPCs interact. And there's a reason, because they don't care. They only care about themselves, and they're only interacting with themselves, and cats. And I thought all these characters were really fun. And I was like, wow, I really excited to finish this game. And then it got canceled. But the world is what I really fell in love with. Like the world and kind of what I was talking about. Like, I just thought it was interesting. I just thought the whole concept was worth exploring, and it haunted me until I could start working on it again. Like it was the game that while working on Isaac, while working on Bumbo, The End is Nigh, all that stuff, I was trying to figure out ways that I could legally like make the game again without having to use the IP, until eventually I got the IP back and, got to dive back in and turn it into an actual game. But yeah, it just seemed ripe. It's hard to explain. It's just like, sometimes I can see a concept and I can see that the wave is so huge that this will just carry me through years of development. And that was one of those projects where it's like, wow, this is so inspired, so interesting, so fun for me personally, that I could see myself investing years into it.
The game exists because you wanted to make it and exist in that world and please yourself and enjoy, that process. And then since all of those things, you end up with, a product that you can like stick onto Steam. That also means as a consequence of that endeavor, people then get to play it and enjoy it, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think about how I wish I was a musician, or I wish I could make short form art again, that I can just like sit down in a few hours and bust something out that feels like really from the heart and can reach people instantly. And I could, yeah, but I've chosen this really, really long-winded art form where I can say a lot. I can say a lot and I can build a world and whatever else, but it takes so long. It takes so long to finish that afterwards I'm always left feeling a little like, I don't know, envious or whatever of other artists being able to just scream into a microphone and express themselves that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's why this? Like, I started out making comics before I made games, and that felt like a long-winded process, and that was nothing. It's like, this just feels like, oh man. Okay, well, do what I can. I mean, I really don't want to work on another 6-year project for quite a while at least. But then it's like, well, you kind of put yourself up like, either I have to make something so different than Mewgenics or Binding of Isaac, or I'm put right against it. Like when making Mewgenics, it was like, well, I'm making something. It's a totally different genre, but it's still roguelite-ish, and people are going to put it right next to Isaac, and they're going to complain that it doesn't have as many items, or it doesn't. It's like, and how are you going to compare to this game that I've been working on for 10 years that I've been updating with this project that is much smaller? And I tried. We really went all in and tried to make it as big as possible, which I think we were able to achieve, but I can't do that again. I can't fucking fight with myself when it comes to that stuff. Like I think I need to make more smaller and interesting, but not so what people would expect, because I'm not going to be able to beat what I've made without investing 10 years into the next one.
And then I guess I'm curious, like for you, and I think it can be a funny word depending on how it's construed, but like what your definition of like whether a project has been successful for you, and if that's something that's just happening on, like you said, on a daily basis, like, hey, I'm getting to show up and work on this with people I enjoy working with. This is a success. Is it something that happens like the moment you finish the game, but before it even goes out into the world, and has nothing to do with, obviously, say like, we could talk about like fiscal success or things like that, has got nothing to do with how it's received? Or is it something that's happening down the line once, like, you know, and it is to do with how players and people engage with the game?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess there's just there's a bunch of successes. It's like, I felt like through development, the game was already a success to me, because it was achieving all the things that I set out to do. And was really cool, you know, release wise. It very much exceeded my expectations when it came to sales. So success was checked off. I think I can make it better. And that's what we're currently working on. So, I mean, my next, I guess, goal for success would be, can I make it a game I'm extremely proud of? I'm very, very proud of it now. I feel like it could be better with some expansions. So I want to be able to do that, to kind of like really pad it out, like I did with Isaac. And then the final would be like, Isaac is at a point now where I found out recently that Isaac had been selling better every year for the past 12 years.
Wow.
Which is crazy, like super crazy, especially like you just would assume that like 5 years ago, it just started growing exponentially every year by like 5 to 10%, which is bonkers.
Is there have you worked out the logic behind this, or is this just something that's happening and it just?
Don't know.
That's incredible.
I think I noticed a bunch of new younger players playing on like Twitch and TikTok and stuff like that. So I know, and we do little updates here and there. So it makes sense that like every year we'll probably put something up and then people talk about it and it kind of grows. And then 2 weeks ago, we did a Steam sale, which Steam recommended we do this extreme 90% off sale for the collection. Because I don't think we'd ever put the collection up for more than 65% off. And they said that like interest is so high that we think that like the number of people viewing the pages and the wish lists and whatever else, we think that everyone will buy it. And we're close to like 4 million sales in the past 2 weeks. And the game has broken all of its own records as far as number of active players.
Can you just
which I
repeat
think it peaked at what's that?
number? Just repeat the number. I want to make sure that you definitely got it right and that I heard it right.
4 million.
1 million, yeah.
Yeah, 4 million sales in 2 weeks for the summer sale. And yeah, but the more impressive thing is this, because everybody's like, people will scoff because I've seen like, I'm scrolling through TikTok now and seeing all these new players, which is really fun for me. Sure. Like seeing completely new green players that are learning from chat on how this game works. And they're playing it like it's just came out, which is so neat. But you see people in the chat talking, they don't know I'm there. And they're like, well, you know, this game's blowing up right now because it's $5. And it's like, well, sure. Yes, sure. But the thing is like, there are people that are really playing the fuck out of this game. Like the peak Isaac players was about 65,000 active players. That was at our highest point of the release of the last DLC 5 years ago. At this point, 5 years ago. And it has been beaten every day. I think it's 156,000 active users currently. And every day it beats that record by like 1,000 more. It's crazy the amount of people that are playing this game. And it's very that's a success. It's like the idea that like this game has kind of been locked in as a classic at this point, and that many people are actively playing it. It puts it alongside games like Terraria or Stardew Valley or Minecraft or whatever else when it comes to a classic indie game that has a substantial number of people that are actively playing it. That's success to me. That's another barometer of success. And I hope like it took 12 years for this. 12 years from now with a bunch of DLC, we put Mewgenics on sale for 90% off. And if it can sell that many and beat its own active users, then I will also then say, okay, that one, check that success off as well and say that the game would be considered a classic. I hope that eventually, 10 years from now, the Mewgenics will be considered a classic, at least in the, turn-based strategy genre, because I do think it's one of the best. I did my research.
There's something I don't want to pivot too hard, but I reached out because of around like in Indie Game the movie, which like I saw years ago, but I guess it's just interesting to me. I just wonder how you feel about your sort of career retrospectively.
Yeah, the only difference from that point compared to now is that I'm not worried about there's very little in terms of thinking, should I mind my P's and Q's so I can pay rent? You know what I mean? Like I'm just more free to say and do whatever I want, which is great. It's very freeing as an artist to be able to be like, if I'm hesitant to say or walk a line of a topic that, I know will rub people the wrong way, or talk or include somebody in the game that people won't like, that I can be at a point where I'm like, fuck it. Who cares? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And that's that. To have that kind of freedom for me is definitely a motivator. And I would like to push it more because there's still some hesitation when it came to Mewgenics because I'm still gambling with somebody else's future and money. Like Tyler's future and money here. I'm not gonna fuck that up because I already kind of fucked it up once when we did The End Is Nigh and I refused to basically do press for it. I felt like I kind of fucked it up. Maybe I got a little cocky there and assuming that like I don't need to talk about my game. I'll just put this new platformer out and then people glom onto it and play it and that'll be fine. Which I think was a great achievement for me. Like I think it's better than Super Meat Boy, but I didn't do any press for it at all, and the only person that felt that blow was Tyler because he just didn't make as much money. So with this one, I really did not want to fuck that one up. So I tried extra hard when it came to the stuff I don't really like, which is marketing and business and that sort of stuff. Try to have as much fun with it as I possibly could, doing what I can and as much as I could to make sure people knew that it existed, which is all I really cared about, is showing the game and letting people know that it's in development and coming out here. But yeah, that's about it. And it'll be fun to work on whatever's next and not with Tyler and then we don't care about money at all. there's no, we can do whatever we want and make huge mistakes. It's nice to know the idea of working on a project where we absolutely really don't care about anything. And even about like the success or financial side of things, like, let's throw away $500,000 into a project that is just fun, that probably won't make that back. Whatever.
I guess just something that makes me curious from what you just said there is like how introspective are you when it comes to like learning from, like you say, mistakes or missteps, or like, okay, this is how I did that this time, but maybe I'm going to approach it differently.
I'm always thinking about that stuff. I'm always thinking about all that stuff, like how to improve and how to optimize. And I'm pretty chaotic when it comes to my design stuff, but I'm also pretty critical and always analyzing things and trying to figure out what works. That stuff kind of scratches an itch in my brain. So I do like to know that and try to improve where I can, what works, what doesn't, and then share that information with other people so they don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I mean, that's why I make DLCs and stuff too, so I can improve on what works and what didn't. We're running into a situation that we didn't foresee with Mewgenics, and I thought that people would play the game and be done with it and then say that's it. But then, much like Isaac, people want to play it more, and they're trying to like do more. And we put these like really hard to reach things that aren't even achievements in the game, but that do have a check mark on them, which are called like solo runs, that can really only be done by breaking the game. And we hid them in for that personality type, but then too many people knew about them and finished the game, and they're like, I'm min-maxing this game, and here are the problems. And it's like, and you're kind of stuck and be like, okay, I don't want to refine a game for people who are a small demographic of the game, but I also don't want to like say fuck off and stop worrying about it. We're trying to figure out like, what are they really saying? Like what is the problem with the game after you've played 300 to 500 hours and you're doing all these crazy achievements? Where's the flaw? Where are the flaws in this design that aren't working for people? And what do they really want? Like, what are they really asking for? Because I don't think they want to do these dumb, impossible things. I think they want to keep playing the game more. I think that's what they're really saying. They want to play the game more. They want more game. And give me a reason to play the game. And then what they're also saying is, at this point in the game, all my cats are completely mutated to the point of breaking, like that they're all freaks. The house is completely flooded with cats to the point where every time I pass the day, there's like, I've got to click it like 100 times to skip the breeding animations. And it's basically like, when you're at that point of the game, they're kind of like, we don't want this roguelite home hub barrier. We don't want to sift through items and and hoard the mythic rare items for whatever run that we're doing. Like, and we don't want to go through all this breeding stuff. We just want to play. So we're working on a DLC that kind of adds a new way to play. And it's really kind of like stripping the game back. But in testing, it's really fun and it works really well. And it's definitely there for people who want to come play the game forever. Kind of makes the game infinite. And we're hoping to have that out by the end of the year. But we'll see.
Is that as much as you can say about that?
Yeah, it's a small little thing that I think will do wonders. I think it'll really scratch the itch for those type of people who've beaten the game and really want to keep playing the game. I think it'll add a lot to the experience. It has for me. I mean, I've been playing a lot lately with this new, design, and it works really well and it's fun and simple enough that I think we can get it out there fast and just put it up for free as a little DLC.
I really love hearing that, actually. Just that, again, that people literally pushing up against breaking the game and maxing, and then asking that question, like, well, what do they really want? And then being able to take that and then provide something that really is like, a lovely building on and iterating on what you created.
Yeah, you got to meet them in the middle.
Yeah.
I remember for a long time, I wanted to do this experimental Kickstarter project where people would pay money to have a say in a video game that was built from nothing. And they basically built just to prove a point. You pay me and I make this abomination of garbage. And I will prove to you that if you just go by what everybody wants, you get crap. And that isn't to say that these people don't have good ideas, but they're so specific in what they want. Like, one of the most common things that people requested early for this type, they want a spreadsheet, fucking full spreadsheet of all of the cats in the house with all the stats, and they want to be able to like select and like mass delete and whatever else. And it's like, I get it. Like, I get it that I understand those type of players. I totally get it. But then it kind of like, you lose the whole house simulation, like you lose the whole hoarder theme simulation. And that's also a lot of work for something that not many people are going to use. Like a tremendous reworking of everything, like borderline impossible. But, yeah, it's you can't just go by what people suggest and works. And, with time, we'll just allow people to do mod stuff, and then they can do whatever they want, and they can prove us wrong. I've been proved wrong. I've been proved wrong before. Like, I remember back in the day when doing, co-op stuff for Isaac, I did these little babies that you could just like drop in, and you'd be this little baby with Isaac, and you could play 2-player co-op. And that was in from the beginning. And the Nicholas team was like, why don't we just have 2 Isaacs? And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense thematically. Why would there be 2 Isaacs? That's stupid. No, I'm not. No. And I was resistant. And then Vin, who eventually did Repentance with me, made a mod. And in the mod, he did true co-op with all of the Isaacs. And I played it. And I'm like, well, I was wrong. I was wrong there. So they can always, build it themselves and prove us wrong and show us what the game really needed. But for the most part, it's my job to get a general idea of what people are saying and make it work with, our vision, basically.
I love hearing that. It just feels like a really nice, healthy respect for the player, whilst knowing that one will never... Well, there's some players that will just never be satisfied. I would love to see that Kickstarter exist. I would invest in that game. Yeah.
Yeah. My relationship with fans is I'm especially like, man, lately, fuck. I try. Like the localization stuff has been a nightmare. And I know I'm not going to argue with bots on Twitter for days about dumb shit that I know doesn't actually matter. But yeah, I don't know if you know, but I think in China they're not allowed to use forums. So like Steam
didn't know that,
forums, yeah. So they express themselves via reviews, and it's if they don't like something, they can't really comment usually, I think, and they will review bomb, and it's a very common thing.
That I've read about. I just didn't realize the. Yeah.
I think that's where it comes from. That's what I've been told anyway. I could be wrong. I've just been told that, but and I get it. They are very passionate. I understand the passion, and when you see that kind of emotion, it's usually because they are very invested in the project and they feel like they're a part of it. So they want, but they want what they want. But man, we're just trying to get shit done. It's like there's a team of people that are working their asses off to try to get translations done for simplified Chinese, and they made the mistake of in a blog post saying that they hoped to have it done by the end of the month, and then literally on the hour in China that ended and it wasn't updated, we started to get review bombed. And it was we were liars. How dare we promise these things and not follow through? It's just like there's no margin of error for just human error. But the thing is they also don't understand. I mean, maybe it's it's our fault too to not explain that like once the localizers are done localizing, then we have to implement everything and test it and make sure it works, which takes weeks. But yeah, there's a bunch of very angry people in China that are upset, but don't worry. It will happen. But we also upset Ukraine. All of Ukraine came crashing down on us because we localized Russia before Ukraine.
Yes.
I'm just going by stats. I'm just going by the stats.
Well, yeah. Going way back to what we started at the beginning, you talk about. Obviously, my assumption is if you're if one's sense of self in terms of why you're doing something is too squarely based on the player, as opposed to like what you were saying, wanting to create something for yourself. My assumption is you would lose your mind pretty damn quickly, right? Because,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I think that's what happens a lot with. It makes sense with mainstream AAA games. They really are making games for the players, and they're really trying to like listen and do what is needed, but also make something good. And you'll find that the reason why a lot of AAA games just suck is because they are just playing it safe as fucking possible, because that's usually what people are requesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, can you please boil this down for me? I want to be able to beat everything in it, and I don't want to ever get frustrated, and I want this and I want that. And I think, I don't know, after having kids, I understand this a lot more because I think most designers have to design from a perspective of father or mother, where you don't want to give your kids candy all day because all they want is candy. That's all they beg for, and they really want it. And sometimes they're so sincere about it, but they're going to go crazy. It's bad for them. You want to choose when you give it to them, so they have that like memory of, oh, remember that time, the end of the day after the boardwalk, I got an ice cream cone and it was so delicious. And it's like having to like explain like you have to be withholding to some degree in order for stuff to like matter. And you have to force people to do hard stuff for stuff to matter. It's like you won't have an experience that you will carry with you for the rest of your life unless there is some amount of like turmoil or strife or excitement or frustration. It's emotions are important in art. You need to be able to pull them out of people, and business goes very much against that. But what are you going to do?
It's a great analogy. You painted a picture of me, so your daughter trying to unlock candy. She could just
yeah.
you have it, but you got to unlock it first. You got to
yeah.